back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. We'll get you back to court in just a moment. And in Massachusetts, now, the defendant, he's still on the stand. We just sort of paused it. But first, here are updates on some other big cases that Court TV is tracking. In New Hampshire, the jury saw video of the defendant's arrest in the Amber Alert murder trial of Dustin Duran. They also heard testimony from an ER doctor who testified that the 4-year-old daughter of the victim and the defendant testified that her daddy hurt her mommy and that there was a lot of blood. And in New York, rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs has renewed efforts to appeal his conviction and his sentence on prostitution-related charges. The motion was filed last week. Diddy was sentenced to just over 4 years in prison. And in Florida, a jury of 7 men and 7 women have been seated in the Julio Fulio murder trial. Alicia Andrews is the first of 5 defendants who are being tried for killing the aspiring rapper as part of an ongoing gang war. Opening statements are expected tomorrow. All right now, I do want to head back to Massachusetts for testimony in the Irish Firefighter Rape Trial, where the defendant is on the stand telling his side of the story. Terence Crosbie, he's a firefighter. He's from Ireland. He was in Boston with a friend in March of last year for the St. Patrick's Day events. Now, he then was accused of rape. The alleged victim told police that she met Crosbie's friend at a restaurant, and the two of them went to the hotel where he and the defendant were staying to have consensual sex. But she said after she fell asleep in the other bed, she woke up and Crosbie was raping her. Crosbie is on the stand now, wrapping up his testimony on direct examination, and then the Commonwealth begins its cross-examination. And again, we have to caution you that if your audio drops out from time to time, it's because we're under court order not to broadcast the accuser's name.
Moving beyond and past your meeting with the officers, what happened after you had met with them? Where did you go next?
I went back to the hotel alone. Just wanted to be on people, wanted to kind of be out socialising, and went back to the hotel room.
About what time was that?
It was after 4:30. It was late afternoon.
What happened when you got back to the hotel?
I was going up to my room, and when I got up to the 6th floor, I seen that the door was left open.
When you saw that the door was left open, what did you do?
When I called in, I had a look around the room. I was a bit suspicious because I was the last one to leave earlier, and it wasn't left open. And I knew it wasn't my roommate because he was just with me speaking to the other officers minutes beforehand. So somebody had been in my room.
And did that frighten you?
Absolutely. I was like a rabbit in the headlights. The nature of the allegation that was being made, plus somebody who was making the allegation knowing where you're staying and the room being left open. I just hit the panic button and packed the bag. I was like, I want to get out of here.
So you packed the bag. What did you do after that?
So I went down to the lobby and went to the airport.
And which airport was that?
Boston Airport. Logan Airport.
Okay. Did you book a flight?
Yes, I booked a flight to leave at 10 p.m.
And did you later change that to an even earlier flight?
Yes, when I got to the airport, I got to the check-in desk and there was like a screen or a monitor that showed an earlier flight that I didn't know wasn't advertised online. So when I got up, I asked the clerk, like, am I able to book that? To change flights, and he said I was able to do that, so I opted for the earlier flight.
Did you leave to try to evade the police?
No, I did not.
Did you leave because you had committed a crime and wanted to escape?
No, I did not.
All right. Directing your attention to March 15th, 2024, from 1:55 a.m. to 2:15 a.m.
Yes.
Upon returning to your hotel room, did you encounter asleep in your bed?
No, my bed was empty.
Did you encounter naked and under the covers of your bed?
No, my bed was empty.
Did you take the covers of your bed down, exposing?
There was nobody in my bed when I returned. It was empty.
Did you remove all of your clothing and sexually assault?
No, I did not.
Did you attempt to kiss?
No, I did not.
Did you follow around your hotel room and put your hands on her?
I did not.
Did you put your mouth anywhere on her?
I did not.
Did you try to follow her to the bathroom?
I did not.
Did you ever, at any point, put your penis in her vagina?
I did not.
Did you rape?
I absolutely did not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Crosbie.
Good afternoon.
So you yourself went to 3 bars before you went to the Black Rose, right?
Yes.
You went with 9 other men from the Irish Fire Brigade,
Yes.
and you weren't scheduled to march in the parade till Sunday, right?
Correct.
So you flew in Thursday, and that was a free night, right? Meaning you were free to do as you pleased.
Yes.
Did you have any work obligations that night?
No.
And Friday and Saturday, you had no work obligations either. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And you checked into the hotel sometime around 4 o'clock
Yes.
You got
on the Thursday.
on the Thursday. You got a key card,
Yes.
and you went out to the bars with the rest of the men you had traveled with around 4:45 p.m. on Thursday, right?
Yes.
How many drinks did you have at the Dubliner?
I'd say 1 because we had food.
Are you sure about 1?
I'd say 1. I had another 1 in Emmett's before I went to the TD Garden.
What about at the Beantown pub?
I would say I probably had 1 there also because I was playing catch up. They had moved there before I got there. I was in the TD Garden.
What were you drinking?
Most likely Heineken, I would imagine. A bottle of Heineken or a pint of Heineken.
But you don't remember what you were drinking.
It would have been a pint or a bottle of Heineken.
You had more drinks at the Black Rose, right?
Yes.
You didn't have any more food there.
No, we didn't have food there.
And at the Black Rose, it was you, Liam O'Brien, and then 2 other men named Jack and Larry, right?
Yes.
You were interested in meeting a woman there, right?
Where?
At the Black Rose.
Yeah, I met a woman there.
And you danced with her.
Yes.
You sat close with her.
Yes.
You had your arm around her.
Yes.
You laughed with her.
Yes.
And you were having fun with her, right?
Yes.
You spent a good amount of time there with her.
Yes.
What was her name?
Do I have to give her name? Yeah. Her name was Kathleen.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What was her last? Do you know her last name?
No.
Okay. And you kissed her,
Yes.
and you went outside with her at one point, right?
Yes.
You have a wife,
Yes.
correct? And your wife was back in Ireland while you were on this work trip, right?
It wasn't a work trip. It was just with work colleagues.
It was okay. So it was a social trip.
It wasn't a work trip. We weren't coming to work.
I'm sorry.
We weren't coming to work.
When you came, you brought a uniform, a dress uniform, right?
Yes.
And all kinds of Dublin Fire Brigade clothing, right?
Yes.
And you were in town to represent the Dublin Fire Brigade, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But this was a pleasure trip.
It was a social trip, I suppose. It wasn't a work event.
Okay. So you knew you were only here for a few days, right?
Yes.
You weren't looking for a long-term relationship with this woman.
I wasn't looking for any relationship.
Well, you were looking to do more than kiss, right?
Not initially, no.
But later, you were?
The thought absolutely crossed my mind, but I declined.
I'm sorry?
The thought crossed my mind, but I declined.
You didn't tell her that you were married, did you?
Not in the bar, I didn't know.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I didn't tell her that in the bar, no.
You didn't tell her ever, did you?
When we got outside, no, I didn't tell her ever, but I declined to go off with her. That's why I returned to the bar.
She actually wouldn't go back to the hotel with you. Isn't that right?
That's not true.
So you just said pleasure to meet you, goodbye?
More or less.
And you went back into the bar alone, right?
That's correct.
Liam O'Brien was still there.
That's correct.
The woman who he was with, you met her just briefly in passing with no names exchanged?
Yes, she wasn't in my company.
And when you came back into the bar after going outside with that woman, you saw that they're still kissing and appear to be having a good time, right?
Yes.
And you sat at your table alone. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And there was no more dancing or socializing with anyone at that point, right?
No.
Not even really people in your own group?
No.
And you walked back to the Omni Parker house alone, right?
Sorry, could you say that again, please?
You walked back to the Omni Parker house alone?
I did.
And you say that Mr. O'Brien came into the room with the woman, right?
Yes.
And you didn't speak to either of them, right?
No.
And you left pretty immediately, you say?
It was more or less instant, yeah. When they come in, I went out.
And then you sat down in those chairs by the elevator for, you say, about 2 hours?
Thereabouts, yeah.
And you didn't try to go sleep in any of the other 4 rooms that your friends had, right?
I didn't, no.
You sat and you scrolled on your phone,
Yeah.
right? You didn't take a nap or anything in that chair.
No.
And you, while you were sitting there for that, you say 2 hours, you had a sense for what was happening in room 610, right?
Sir, objection. Yes, overruled.
I kind of read between the lines what was the reason I left the room.
But you went back to the room, nonetheless.
2 hours later.
And you knew that Mr. O'Brien and the woman that he was with were still in there.
Yes.
You had sat by the elevator and you didn't see them leave, right?
True.
So you knew that they were in the room.
Yes. And she could have left when I went to the bathroom. I don't know, but I presume she didn't.
Mr. Crosbie, so you say that you went into the room and you got ready for bed.
Yes.
You undressed.
Yes.
Did you brush your teeth?
I didn't.
You didn't brush your teeth?
No.
And did you use the bathroom?
I didn't.
You didn't have to use the bathroom at that point?
No.
So you claim that there was no one in your bed when you got in and you just faced the wall, right?
There was nobody in my bed.
And you just faced the wall, right?
Just got into bed and faced the wall, yes.
You could hear Liam O'Brien snoring, right?
Correct.
And then you say you just all of a sudden noticed that that a woman got up.
I didn't notice. I heard somebody get up.
You didn't look at her.
I didn't try, but I couldn't. It was too dark.
You didn't say anything to the police on March 15th of 16th, 2024, about the woman using the bathroom before she left, right?
They had never asked that question.
Well, you were talking with them about what you heard, right?
What I heard?
You said that a minute and a half after you got into bed, you heard the woman get up and start rummaging around the room, correct?
Yes.
And you never said anything at all about hearing her go into the bathroom and spend any time in there before she left, did you?
That's true. They never asked.
When you spoke with the police, you weren't at a police station, right?
Correct.
And the police weren't in uniform.
No, they were not.
And you were in just a general common area in the hotel, is that right?
It was like I think the bar was closed, like a mezzanine area, not too far from the lift.
And Sergeant Detective Dana Barrett gave you a card that had his cell phone number on it, right?
Yes.
And at the end, you said that you weren't going anywhere, right?
True.
It feels like the prosecutor's taking some swings and perhaps missing. At least that's the way I'm taking it. I think he's holding up fairly well. We do need to take a break right now. Cross-examination continues as the Commonwealth presses Terence Crosbie about trying to get information from police about what his accuser said to them. Keep it here on your front row seat of justice.
An Amber Alert triggered by a deadly shooting and 2 girls taken by their father.
But did Dustin Durin shoot the mother of his children in self-defense?
The Amber Alert murder trial. Live coverage today on CourtTV.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, an Irish firefighter on trial after an alleged rape in a Boston hotel room. We'll bring you key moments from today's testimony.
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. Tonight at 8/7 Central. Only on CourtTV.
Debt-free.
Just walking around the room, gathering her clothes, and rummaging, looking for her belongings.
Did you look at her?
The room were out. I couldn't, but I didn't try anyway.
Did you touch her?
I didn't.
Did you have any physical contact with her?
I didn't.
All right, folks, welcome back. We do want to get you back to more testimony in the Irish Firefighter Rape Trial in Massachusetts. The defendant is still on cross-examination here, and the Commonwealth is pressing him about what he was trying to find out about his accuser and what she had told police about him. Now, this is a reminder that because we cannot broadcast the accuser's name, you may hear audio drop out from time to time.
You told the police that you didn't want them to be concerned about you taking off, right?
True.
During that interview with them, you tried to get information about what Ms. was saying to the police, right? About what she had disclosed.
He told me there was an allegation made.
And you were trying to get details about what she had disclosed, right?
I was asked what type of allegation was being made.
So, Mr. Crosbie, you were trying to get information from the detectives about what had disclosed about the reported sexual assault, right?
They told me there was an allegation made. I asked what it was about.
And you specifically asked them, can you specify what that means exactly in the legal terms of rape? Is she saying someone pinned her down on the bed and had sex with her?
He told me that somebody had non-consensual sex with her.
They hadn't given you any information beyond the fact that there was a sexual assault alleged, right?
Yes.
And so it was your words, your specific words, asking if she was saying that someone pinned her down on the bed and had sex with her,
Yes,
right?
I asked him.
They hadn't told you anything prior to that about what exactly had disclosed.
No, he told me later.
They actually said, so we're not going to get into that, right?
I think the word he used was she's claiming somebody had non-consensual sex with her.
When you asked, can you specify what that means exactly in the legal terms of rape? Is she saying someone pinned her down on the bed and had sex with her? They told you they weren't going to get into that, right?
Yes.
And you, when you went through kind of a description of what you did after you landed at Logan and went to the hotel here today, you didn't say anything about having masturbated on your bed before going out for the night, right?
True.
But when you talked to the police back on March 16th, you told them that in the morning, when Liam O'Brien went down for breakfast, that you had masturbated on the bed?
I think I asked a hypothetical question.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your response.
I asked him a hypothetical question. What if?
Mr. Crosbie, you testified on this topic in a prior proceeding, correct? And you were asked if there was anything hypothetical about what you said to the police at that point, right?
True.
And you agreed there was nothing hypothetical about what you said to the police?
True.
Okay. So moving for a moment to that part of the conversation that you had with them, you said, I'm going to say in a very simple way for you to understand. We're two lads on the holiday. I'm in my bed on me own in the morning. He's gone off for breakfast, and I have to masturbate or whatever. We go out to have a good night. We come back, and then him and her in the room, and she's on my bed with him having sex. If they are, I don't know if they are. That's what you said to the police at the Omni Parker house on March 15th, right?
Yes.
Excuse me, I keep saying that, March 16th, 2024. But you hadn't been at the hotel in the morning, right?
We only got there late afternoon.
So you didn't have really time separate from Mr. O'Brien in the hotel room, right? He was in the hotel room the whole time that you were there before you went to the bar?
True.
And so you didn't, so there was no breakfast for Liam that morning in Boston, right?
No.
And you didn't have time that morning because you weren't in Boston, right?
We only got there in the afternoon.
And so you were telling the police that story to try to anticipate why your DNA might be found on Mr. body, right?
No, that's not true. And my DNA wasn't found on her body.
I'm sorry. I didn't understand your what you said.
I told you that my DNA was not found on her body.
I understand. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. You didn't know at that point, though, what would be found, correct?
Sorry, I don't understand.
You did not know at that point, at that early point on March 16th, 2024, might be found later, right?
Well, I knew my DNA wouldn't be because I didn't touch her.
All right, let's bring in our guest for this hour. Joining us to discuss is criminal defense attorney Silva Megadici. Silva, great to see you. As always, thank you so much for joining me. And I got to say, you know, he's holding up well. I said earlier, I thought the prosecutor's taking some swings and she's kind of missing. I thought this last little bit of questioning was much more effective. Your thoughts so far on how he's doing on the stand and this cross-examination?
You know, Michael, first of all, thank you always for having me. I adore you and I adore your staff so much. Here's the issue, Michael. He's incredibly credible and he's doing something incredibly effective. And what it is answering questions in a very short, effective manner. He's not offering anything more. And we see this a lot in CourtTV trials where clients will get on the stand, defendants will get on the stand, and they will talk about the sun, moon, stars when they weren't even asked for it. And that really ruins their credibility because it allows the jury to really think about a lot of different things that they don't need to. He is answering the questions directly and not giving the prosecutor a lot of wiggle room. Now, she is doing finally an effective job trying to say, well, you said masturbated. Where was that when you were talking to the officers? You know, get your story straight. That she's doing effectively, finally. I think it's absolutely what you said. There were a couple of swings and misses where she's trying to trap him or trying to make him more nervous or stumble. He's definitely nervous. I mean, the man is facing 2 decades in prison, but he's absolutely able to stick to his narrative. So it's hard for me. She, the victim, very credible. Her testimony, I thought, was incredibly passionate and effective and factual. But now it's hard for me because I have reasonable doubt. I really do. And part of that also, the lack of the DNA and also his credibility. I don't know. Michael. So this is very tough he said, she said.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that he kind of looks the part. He's a public servant, you know, and as you said, he seems to be holding his own in this cross-examination. Let's listen back to a little bit of the accuser and what she had to say about what actually happened when she was in fact raped or allegedly raped.
I woke up to somebody on top of me, inside of me, in his penis in my vagina, on top of me, telling me, you like this, he couldn't give this to you, I'll give it to you, he's a loser. I was focusing on getting out. I was focusing on into safety.
So is it your testimony that you were sober at that point?
I was coherent.
I'm not asking if you were coherent. I'm asking if you believe you were sober.
I don't believe I was 100% sober. I got out of there as fast as I could.
Okay. You walked through the lobby and out of the hotel, right?
Yes, trying to get out of that situation where I'd just been raped.
Okay. You didn't stop and say anything to the concierge?
No, I didn't know them.
Didn't stop and call the police?
No, because I wanted to get to the hospital.
You walked home, though, right?
I did.
Right, so Silva, when you're looking for this he said, she said, and who to believe, one of the interesting things that was brought out on the direct examination of the defendant here, Mr. I forget his name now, Crosbie, thank you so much, Mr. Crosbie, was that people in Ireland don't use the word loser. I thought that was extremely effective. It's a tiny little thing. But his attorney brought out the fact that, do you guys, when you're talking about someone, do you use the word loser? That's not something that goes. And you guys know that that's not a word we use. And I kind of bought it. And it was an interesting little tiny point that I think hurts her credibility.
You know what, Michael? It's interesting because I was talking about this case to someone who's watching it as well. It's interesting. There's no perfect rendition of a crime, right? In other words, when victims are in a crime, especially when alcohol's involved, their memories are not going to be 100%. And we know that. And any good prosecutor is going to remind the jury that this is a crime that happened, not recently, right? There was another trial. She has to explain to the jury that the memory is not going to be perfect, but the events that she felt and believed happened. That's what the jury is going to do, Michael. They're going to go in that room and talk about even the minutest of inconsistencies. There is no perfect victim rendition because, again, our memories are fallible. However, I will say it was an incredibly effective point. When I heard the victim's rendition of the story, my first thought was, scream, the guy's sleeping and snoring, scream, no, off, stop. But again, when you're in a high-stress situation, everybody reacts differently. But Mr. Crosbie's testimony also shows a guy who's calm, collected, and then you think, why would he go on top of this girl knowing that his friend is right next to him sleeping? There are inconsistencies, Michael, and also inconsistencies with his testimony. It's really going to be up to the jury. I don't know how they would be able to find this beyond a reasonable doubt at this point.
Yeah, I would agree, and it was evidenced by the first trial. There being a hung jury. I believe they deliberated for almost 22 hours over 4 days, just to show you how difficult this case actually is. All right, Silva, stand by. I'm going to step aside now, take a break. When we come back, the Commonwealth presses Terence Crosbie about telling police that he wasn't going anywhere and then buying a ticket to leave the country. Big issue in this case. Biggest thing that I think hurts the defense. That's on the other side of the break. Keep it here on CourtTV.
So the lights are off. You've taken out your flashlight on your phone. What did you do next?
I shone the light on the floor just to give myself a walkway past to my bed, and then I knocked it off once I got there, and I got into the side of my bed close to the bathroom door and got into bed.
Did you see or hear Mr. O'Brien when you entered the room?
No.
And again, please remind the jury which bed was yours?
The fourth bed on the right, the one closest to the bathroom.
Could you tell if your suitcase was there where you had left it next to the bed?
It was still there, yes.
Was your bed still made?
It was as I had left it earlier, yes.
Was anyone in your bed?
There was nobody in my bed.
Welcome back to CourtTV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. Day 4 of testimony in the Irish Firefighter Rape Trial ended with the defendant on the stand. Terence Crosbie told the jury that he didn't rape a woman at a Boston hotel in March of last year. Now, this is the second time that Crosbie has been tried and has testified in his own defense. I guess it worked out well for him because his first trial ended in a hung jury. The alleged victim testified last week that she and Crosbie's friend had gone to the hotel to have consensual sex. And after she fell asleep in the other bed, she woke up to Crosbie raping her. Now, we are under court order not to reveal the accuser's name, so you may hear sound drop out during his testimony from time to time. Crosbie is still on cross-examination, and the Commonwealth is now challenging him about trying to leave the U.S. after telling police that he would stay.
When you told the police that you weren't going anywhere, that was a lie, right?
No, that was 100% truth.
But you bought a ticket to leave the country right after that, right?
Not right after that. It was a few hours later after I realised somebody was in my room.
You went to Logan Airport by yourself, right?
True.
Liam O'Brien didn't go with you, right?
No.
And he had been similarly interviewed by the police, correct?
True.
And none of the other 8 men, other than Liam O'Brien, none of them bought a ticket to fly back to Ireland, right?
True.
And so you bought a ticket, was it 3 days before your scheduled flight, right?
Yeah, Saturday, yeah. 3 days, yeah.
So you were going to miss marching in the parade, right?
Yes.
And you actually went to the airport 5 hours or so before your scheduled flight?
Yes.
You didn't wait at the hotel, even in the lobby?
No, somebody had just been in my room. They knew where I was staying.
You went to sit at the airport?
Yes.
And you settled into your seat on the plane, right?
Yes.
You even took your shoes off?
Yes.
You thought you were about to fly away?
I was going home to my wife and children.
I'm going to show you some videos, Mr. Crosbie, and ask you a few questions. Mr. Crosbie, you would agree that there was no one else in the room during that time frame after you came back in there at 1:55 a.m. other than Liam O'Brien and right?
Yes.
No one else came or went?
During the time that they were in the room?
Yes.
No.
And you didn't have any substantial conversation, right? At Black Rose or anywhere?
No, no.
You didn't have any arguments or anything like that?
No, what you saw in the video, I said hello and said goodbye.
So going back to this video for a moment. Your intentions, Mr. Crosbie, in speaking with this woman and kissing this woman and dancing with this woman, they were to lead to something more, right?
Yes, possibly.
And she didn't go for that, right?
That's not true.
Well, you come back in alone, right?
Yes.
She didn't go back to the hotel with you.
I didn't ask her.
And you didn't leave with her.
She did ask me to, for the client.
And then after she leaves, you just kind of sit in that chair by yourself, right?
True.
And you can see what's going on around you, that Liam and are hitting it off, right?
Yes.
And you sit and you watch them a little bit, and then you leave.
But I wasn't paying too much attention to them. They weren't necessarily in my direct company. But I did leave alone.
You watched them kiss and talk, and you looked at your watch and looked at them before you left. So you were paying attention to them, right?
Yes, but I wasn't with them because in their company with both of them. But I've seen them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you saw them. You were looking at them. You observed what they were doing.
Yes.
But you weren't part of it, right?
True.
Can we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right, so was it rejection that turned him into a predator that night, or did he in fact decline and just went about his business? This is a tough one. All right, we're going to squeeze in a break right now. Coming up next, Mr. Crosbie wraps up his testimony on cross, so keep it here on CourtTV Live.
An Amber Alert triggered by a deadly shooting and 2 girls taken by their father.
But did Dustin Durin shoot the mother of his children in self-defense?
The Amber Alert murder trial. Live coverage today on CourtTV.
Tonight on closing arguments, an Irish firefighter on trial after an alleged rape in a Boston hotel room. Will bring you key moments from today's testimony.
Closing arguments with Vinnie Politan tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on CourtTV.
I got out of there as fast as I could.
Okay, you walked through the lobby and out of the hotel, right?
Yes, trying to get out of that situation where I'd just been raped.
Okay, you didn't stop and say anything to the concierge?
No, I didn't know them.
Didn't stop and call the police?
No, because I wanted to get to the hospital.
You walked home though, right?
I did.
Welcome back, folks. We are wrapping up the defendant's testimony in the Irish Firefighter Rape Trial. Once again, we do want to remind you we're not allowed to broadcast the accuser's name, so you may hear audio drop out from time to time.
You were in the room with for about 20 minutes, a little over 20 minutes. Is that right?
I think it was close to that time, yes.
And you now say that she spent about 15 of those minutes rummaging and going into the bathroom, right?
That was just a guesstimate, yeah.
You never said that before, right, in your statement to the police or during your testimony in a prior proceeding, right?
That's true, they never asked.
You've certainly been asked about this subject matter before, correct?
Yes, but not how long someone stayed in the bathroom.
You were asked what the woman did, what you could hear her doing before she left.
At what point?
During your interview with the police on March 16th, they asked you about what you heard the woman doing after you got into the bed, right?
Yes.
You never told them that she spent 15 minutes rummaging and in the bathroom, right?
Any question they asked, I answered.
That didn't answer my question, Mr. Crosbie.
They never asked that specific question.
So you never told them?
They never asked.
You told them that about a minute and a half after you got into the bed and faced the wall, you heard the woman get up, rummage around for her things, and then she left.
Yes, I never said she left after a minute and a half. I said she got out of bed after a minute and a half.
That's not what I'm asking you, Mr. Crosbie. And when you were questioned about this subject matter at a prior proceeding in this case, you never said that she was there for 15 minutes before she left, right?
True. I don't know if that question was asked.
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Crosbie, you were just asked about your...
So just ask the question.
Did circumstances change between the time you told the police you weren't going anywhere and the time you booked your flight?
Yes, absolutely.
What changed?
The fact I was going back to my bed to lie down and think about what was being said, and then going back to realise somebody was in my room.
And with regard to Ms. Murphy asking you about a prior proceeding, did I also ask you some questions at that prior proceeding?
Yes.
Do you recall whether I asked you about whether conversations about DNA and masturbation were hypothetical?
Yes.
Do you recall your answer?
Yes.
What did you say when I asked you those questions?
I think I said yes.
And with regard to the question about whether the police were saying that Ms. had been pinned down and had sex with her. Did you pin her down or have sex with her?
I did not. I've never done that.
No further questions.
And complete your testimony. You may return to the team, Mr. Crosbie.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next witness, please. Your Honor, the defense rests. Okay, the defense is rested. Anything else from the Commonwealth?
Yeah, Your Honor.
You have a seat, counsel. Actually, let me see your sidebar, please.
right, so the defense rested, and that ended court for the day. Closing arguments begin tomorrow morning, and then the jury will get the case. Let's bring back in my guest, criminal defense attorney Silva to discuss. And Silva, as we said, we both kind of are in the same spot. It's like we don't know who to believe. They're both relatively believable in their story. You want to believe her, you kind of want to believe him. So what do? We go to clues. So let's talk about some of those clues. Number one, I want to talk about this idea that immediately after talking to police, he decides he wants to bolt town. Not only does he want to bolt town, but he books a flight. Then when he gets to the airport, he books an even earlier flight. He wants to leave the country. That, to me, is one of the most hurtful things about this entire case. The idea that, well, why would he stick around? He was set to be there for a couple more days. Why not stay if he didn't do anything wrong?
You know, Michael, my first inclination when I heard that testimony was, I get it. You're in a foreign country. It's a nightmare situation to be falsely accused. And you're just like, I want to go home to my family, even though, again, you were fooling around with another girl at the bar. But your first instinct is, I want to be safe and I want to be home. And by the way, he was free to leave. The cops didn't tell him to stay. From what I understand, there was no arrest. He was free to go and come as he pleases. So to me, that makes sense. Now, another juror, they're going to say, oh my gosh, she's trying to flee. I think that's where this major discussion is going to happen within the jury walls. Every single juror is going to have a different opinion about his reaction. So yeah, is it a great fact? No. But is it an understandable reaction to being falsely accused? And I always go back to Amanda Knox in Italy, right? Like, she was accused of a horrific crime. All she wanted to do was go back home. The difference in that capacity where the officers told her, you better stay put.
Now, he does tell this weird story about masturbating that morning. It's like, that struck me as a bit odd, right? Struck me as odd. It did seem like something maybe calculated to cover up something. What we do know is that DNA was found on his underwear, his own semen found in his underwear, but nothing on her. Let's take a quick listen to one of the DNA experts called by the state quickly, and then we'll discuss.
The testing for semen for the kit samples was negative for the possible presence of semen. It can mean that intercourse never took place. It can mean that intercourse did take place but wasn't completed. It can mean that a condom was worn during the act. It can also mean that somebody had cleaned up or that enough time had passed that evidence was no longer available.
Is it ever possible that the presence is too low to be detected?
Yes, that's possible as well.
All right, so again, you have these two sort of conflicting facts. He tells this weird story. DNA and then his semen was found inside of his own underwear, but not on her. Just the honest facts. What do you make of all that?
I actually thought that was actually a little bit, that gave me pause, right? The masturbation issue definitely gave me pause because, again, my first reaction is, oh my God, is he trying to cover for himself just in case DNA is found? So it is. There's like this weirdness to that story that did not rest well with me. Is it possible that he's telling the truth? Of course. It just gave me pause. A lot about this case, Michael, gives me pause. You know, again, you have firefighters who are married with kids, you know, coming to another country to have fun and fool around on their wives. You know, you have a woman who's an attorney who, again, she is a victim, alleged victim here, and I get that. But also the decisions made that night are having horrific consequences on so many different people's lives. It's just a really difficult case to maneuver exactly what happened, especially when alcohol is involved and memory issues already, even when you're sober, are difficult. And it literally is a he said, she said, without a key witness even being there to testify on anyone's behalf. It's just really going to come down to who the jury believes, and I really do believe it's likely going to hang again.
Yeah, I would agree, because again, I believe something happened in that room, happened to that woman, but again, there's that pesky beyond a reasonable doubt thing that could be a big, big problem, as it was the first time around. Yeah. All right, Silva, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Always a real pleasure to have you on the show. We'll see you again real soon. Folks, stick around. Coming up next, we're going to review the 3 themes that we've learned today in the cases that we've been covering from coast to coast right here on CourtTV. Welcome back. Here are three things that we've learned on this busy Tuesday. First, convicted killer Brian Kohlberger says he doesn't want to pay restitution to the families of the University of Idaho students that he murdered. In a new court filing, Kohlberger argues the victims' relatives received money through GoFundMe campaigns and he has no ability to pay while serving life in prison. The state requested more than $27,000 in restitution for travel and accommodation expenses incurred by the families of victims Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan during court proceedings in Boise. Second, in New York, attorneys representing Sean Diddy Combs have filed a notice of appeal for both his conviction and sentencing on federal prostitution charges. Combs was convicted in July on charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, but he was acquitted of the more serious charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. He was sentenced earlier this month to 50 months in prison. And third, closing arguments will take place tomorrow morning in the Irish Firefighter Rape Trial of Terence Crosbie. Crosbie is standing trial for a second time on charges that he raped a woman in a Boston hotel last year. Both sides rested today after the defendant took the stand to testify in his own defense, contrary to the alleged victim's claim that she fell asleep in Crosbie's bed and woke up to him raping her. Crosbie testified that no one was in his bed when he got back to the hotel room and that he said he had no physical contact whatsoever with the alleged victim. And again, no DNA found on her at all. All right, I'm Michael Ayala. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much, as always, for